So in my first tutorial, I showed you how to find clip art that's legal for you to use on Etsy. And in my second tutorial, I showed you the basics of how to create a running stitch and a satin stitch and a field of fill stitch. And this is going to be a really quick tutorial on how to import clip art into your StitchArtist module so you can start digitizing. You're going to make sure you're in your digitizing module right here where it says create. You're going to go over here to the left where it says image, add an image to the design. That's what you want to use. So you go in here to your folder. I keep mine in Dropbox. And you're going to go to the folder where you have your clip art. And it looks like I've already got it open to some cute little African animals. So I'm going to open this elephant. I've already digitized him, but let's just open this elephant. You can use these squares on the side to make it as large or as small as you want. This is a pretty big field. So you use this green button in the center to drag wherever you want, all over the screen. You can center him by putting the green square in the middle. And one thing that gets people confused, me too, I still do this even though I've been using StitchArtist for over a year. You want to make sure, you see these squares right here? You want to make sure that this one that says show or hide the background image is selected. Because if you unselect that, look what happens. Your elephant goes away. And you don't know how many times I've been digitizing and I've just been like pushing buttons and going really fast, or maybe my kid was talking to me and I wasn't really paying attention to what I was doing and I made the image go away and I like almost submitted a trouble ticket or, asked the StitchArtist Facebook group, what on earth is wrong with my software? It wasn't the software, it was the button. Watch this. See? And the same is true underneath where it says show or hide stitches. That will show or hide what you've digitized so far as the stitches. So that's another thing you can make disappear and get really confused. And I'll warn you, back before I started digitizing, I was just doing embroidery, and I was, like so many others, I was a design hoarder. I have thousands of designs, and I bet I've only used maybe 100, maybe, in my creations that I make for family and friends. And I thought when I started digitizing, I was like, oh great, now I'll be making my own designs. I won't be hoarding designs anymore. This is great. No more money spent on designs. But number one, that's not true because I still have people come to me like who know me and say, can you make me a onesie with this elephant on it? And I don't, I'm not going to go and re-digitize something someone else already does, so I still buy designs. And number two, guess what I hoard now? Clip art. Yeah, I have thousands and thousands of clip art images that I will never use, and I don't know, it's addictive. Once you realize that you can make anything, the digitizing world is your oyster. So now that your clip art is brought in, you are ready to start drawing using the tools that I showed you in my last tutorial, which you can check out on this channel. You're going to start with draw. You click on this one, draw with points. And then you select whatever type of field you want. Start out with the basics like run, satin, or fill. Those are the easiest ones to do. There are more, but I just thought I would show you how to bring the clip art in. And then you start drawing just like I showed you in the last tutorial I did. You go dot, dot, dot. Put a dot wherever you see kind of a major change in your clip art. You don't want to start out by doing a zillion dots like this. Dot, 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 dot. That's way too many. You want to do just dots wherever. I do it where I see a major change in the design. Like here is a cusp. Here's a change. There's a big change. Here's a pretty big curve. Like that. Because then you're going to go in and you're going to shape them to the design. So only put a dot, don't do this. That's way too many dots, and that's going to give you way too many stitches, and it's too busy, and it's just not good. You just want to put dots like that. And then I'm going to click on where I started, and I'm going to right click to end. Then I'm going to go up here to close outline and select that. Now it's closed. Now if you found a mistake that you made, you can go in, like let's say, oh no, I got too many dots. You just, oh, those are called points, by the way, not dots. You can go in and double click them, and it'll take those points away. You can move them. Oh, this one was wrong. Let's put it right here. And you can also add them. Put your clicker on top of the line, and you see how it turned black and it has a squiggle behind it? Double click on your line. Ta-da! I made a new point. Now I can put it wherever I want. So that's better, how I have it right now. That's much better. And then using the skills you learned in the second tutorial about changing the types of points, the types of nodes, you can right click, and this one obviously needs to be a cusp because one needs to go this way and this one needs to go this way. And use those skills. That's what I do first. I know some people may draw with a specific type of stitch first, like if they have if they know they want to do a running stitch, they may start out with running stitch. Personally, I usually do it this way where I'm in, you can see up here it says artwork with no stitches. I do that first because I want to lay down this image how I want it before I tell it that I want it to be a satin stitch. That's just the way I do it. For something really small or really detailed, I may go ahead and start with a satin stitch because I want to see how it's going to look. Like, look at that. That tail is going to be way too busy, way too thick. So, you know, it's good that I looked at it how it's going to be in satin before I plotted all the points. Because I may want to go back and just make the tail fill so it's not so busy. I don't like to have the satin stitches that close. So, let's see, anything else basic? I don't know. I like to start out, like I said, I like to start out with just the artwork with no stitch type, like this. And especially in applique, you're going to have to outline it all anyway before you do satin. So I just see how I'm just perfecting all these points. You can drag them. This one is a curve. See how they move in conjunction with one another. This one is going to be a curve. You can pull them out in a curve like that. Whoa. You can take it back in. Just play around with it. Play around with getting the experience of changing your nodes from cusp to line to curve. And just get really good at outlining your clip art. Because in the next tutorial, we're going to talk about the differences in using running, satin, and fill stitch in the designs that you have, and the different types of stitches that are better for bigger designs and smaller designs and details and all that stuff. So the next one's going to be a long one. So I hope this one has helped you import clip art and start your tracing process. And in the next tutorial, we'll do some more detail on how to use different types of stitches to create your project.